Hey, everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to Truth Behind the Truth, where we're here to live our authenticity and show it to everybody that is willing to listen. And I want to thank you all who are watching. Thank you for just coming and joining our show at this point in time of your day. I know everybody's busy, but hey, we welcome you. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who's been supporting us at this point in time. We just thank you for just being here to join our show. My co-host is mighty late, but listen, we're gonna keep the
He's on
show
his
running.
way.
We're gonna keep it going. Yes, we're gonna keep
He's
it
on his way.
going. So I just want to just say, how's everybody doing? Harold, how are you doing?
You know, I have been looking forward to this conversation. I'm so excited that we are still celebrating women, and we have a
Yeah.
dynamic, brilliant Black woman on tonight talking about Black women and women of impact. So, really excited about that. And then I
Yes.
can't wait to get in. This is one hot topic I'm looking forward to because we have some things to say. So, this is going to be a good and interesting and candid conversation about what's
Yes.
Yes.
happening in the world today. So, but I'm doing
Yes.
good.
Great, great. Parnell, you coming
I'm,
on up in here?
I'm coming on up here. Yeah, just danced on up here with my fabulous fantasy house.
Oh yes, beautiful, just
Woo!
beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to manifest it,
There you go. There you go.
But it's good to see you guys again for another show. And I, as a martial arts enthusiast, am really looking forward to talking with our guest tonight. Just soaking in all the information and stuff that she has for us today.
Yes, Miss Grandmaster Deidre White Cole. I can't wait. Honestly, I'm very excited about the interview that we're going to have tonight with her because this is something that is interesting and is a conversation that needs to be had within the community because it's very rare that you hear women, especially Black women, who are very professional in her field of karate, of anything of
Law
the sort.
enforcement.
Law enforcement too, and to know that this was a purpose that she has started as early as 9. This is something to really. I'm looking forward to this conversation, but I'm also looking forward to this conversation that we need to have in our hot topics. Now, let
Oh,
me
here
tell
we
you
go.
something. This is something as pertaining to women because we're at this point we're still within the history of our Women's History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And just us watching the news, which I've been watching and seeing this Ketanji confirmation. Give me your response on this. Tell me give me your feel on what y'all been seeing for the most part and just been noticing about this brave woman who has taken on all of this craziness.
Well, you know what? I don't watch TV, but I
Yes.
did watch the clips, and I probably haven't cursed that much at a computer screen when Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz with these idiotic questions and statements.
Miss
It just
Southern
rem-
Bill.
it just reminded me of the racial attacks that often occur in the workplace, but we were able to see it like on TV in the audacity to do what they did, asking just idiotic questions, nothing to do with her judicial record, her
Mhm.
qualifications, just questions that were irrelevant. And it was frustrating because Black folks, we have mastered sucking it up and just
Yes.
accepting that kind of ridiculous tone, ridiculous questioning, and hearing someone talk to you in such a way where their statements are so idiotic and questions are so idiotic, and you're questioning your own self like, well, wait a minute, maybe it's me. And
Mhm.
I've encountered that, and it was just so frustrating to see. But bravo to Senator Cory Booker
Yeah.
for his
Yes.
brilliant and beautiful way that he stood up for our sister,
Yes.
and he acknowledged her worth, her value, and her credentials and her credibility. That was just such an awesome moment to witness. And I think we all just felt that. And we all needed to hear that,
Yes.
because sometimes we're in situations where folks, and we know who they are, will try to make us feel like we are not worthy, like we don't have a right to be at the table and that we don't belong. Even we can have all the credentials. I mean, this woman is one of the most decorated and has a brilliant 30-year long career that
basically she's qualified. She's qualified.
More than qualified.
And to be honest with you, with the fact of the questionings of just what is the definition of a woman? Why was that even a question to be asked, Parnell? I mean, at the end of the day, why would you ask somebody who's been a judge for many, many years the definition of a woman on top of that, and then ask other questions based on pornography and pedophilia? What? Who?
And what was your LSAT? What was your LSAT score?
Right, that they ain't never asked nobody.
Right.
And see, the thing about it is, because we all know of everything that I've been listening to and watching, everybody's like, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is coming to this hearing the most qualified, more qualified than the current justices that has more experience than anybody that is currently sitting on our Supreme Court. So the fact that they're trying to discredit her and they're trying to goad her into stuff I knew as soon as Marsha Blackburn started speaking, I'm like, oh, here she go. She's trying to give me that. She's trying to give you that Southern Belle thing, and then she goes for the jugular. Like I said, y'all trying to trip her up, but what you don't understand is that this woman has way too much experience to be fooled by y'all.
She's not listening to Kanye.
Yeah, right. You know, she was very, very held it together, and I even have to give it to the chairman, Senator, is it Durbin? I think it was. That was the thing. I can't remember. Maybe I said the last name wrong. When he was pounding the gavel trying to get Ted Cruz to shut up. So I'm like, this is why I don't work in positions like that. Because if I'm the chairman and I'm pounding the gavel, and you know that means that you're supposed to shut up, but you can pound that as long as you want to. The next sound y'all would have heard would have been that mallet striking Ted Cruz right between the eyes.
Right.
All it is just red meat to the red base. And that's one thing I just, at the end of the day, none of these folks are qualified to be our president, but they're qualified to be idiots.
But you know what? I ran across this quote by Malcolm X that just resonated with me. It says, Malcolm X says that said it this way: the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. And when I read that, I thought about it, and I just, I thought about all of the Black women who every day have to deal with what the Honorable Ketanji Brown Jackson had to experience. That goes on in corporate America, in the workplace, all the time, even today. And just bravo to Cory Booker for what Senator Cory Booker for just lifting up our sisters and telling her that you are enough, that you are enough, and you are worthy. And I don't think we do that enough for our sisters. I don't think we acknowledge all of the stuff that they have to go through, and all of the discrimination, and all of the questioning of their credibility. I know we as Black men go through it as well, but I'm a Black man, but I am the son of a brilliant Black woman who I know was denied so many opportunities, even though she had qualifications. So
wow. And you know what? And to be honest with you, to add on to that, as brilliant as Black women are, and as women are in general too, as well. You think about stories, especially the story over there in Russia, the basketball player Brittany Griner. You think about her situation and what she's having to deal with as an American, as a Black woman, as a lesbian, as a basketball player who's having to just be in an unfortunate situation of being in a country at the wrong place at the wrong time, but knowing even over here she's playing basketball, she's playing her sport, but being underpaid, but having to go as a woman to another country to play a sport that she's being paid millions over there in Russia to play, but cannot be paid the same amount of money over here as a female basketball player. It's very just odious to me,
Right.
and which has caused
It's,
her only way to for her life to be jeopardized in the sense of being in jail over there,
Right.
while
exactly.
Russia is at war with the Ukraine.
Mhm, mhm.
So give me your
it speaks
response
to
on
the
that.
inequity. It speaks to the pay inequity that occurs when women are paid far less than men, especially Black women.
Well, exactly. I mean, it really does. I mean, just kind of. Good evening, everyone. How
Welcome,
everybody?
JB. Welcome.
He has
I
appeared.
have appeared. Yes.
Appeared. Yes.
But I know you guys moved on in the conversation. I just wanted to say one thing about the Ketanji Brown situation. So much kudos to her strength. You know what I mean?
Yes,
to her
yes,
strength, and
yes,
then
yes.
in the face of such degradation, to stand up and have such beautiful integrity. You know, I mean, because it would have been me, and if I was her, I probably would have cussed every one of their asses out. I'm gonna tell you, right? You know,
Well, I
especially
did.
that
I was
damn-
cussing them all off for her.
I know, right? Especially that damn Lindsey Graham. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna move on real quick. But see, and then with his, excuse me, I'm just gonna be blunt. With his dumb ass, okay, I don't even know why he's still in office. First off, you know, at the end of the day, now, why would you get so upset about a woman not what you think not giving people in pedophilia situations enough time?
Yeah.
And then you start squirming at the end of the conversation when you start saying it. That tells me that something ain't right in your camp, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly, because something ain't right. You've been looking at something on a computer that you shouldn't be looking at. Okay, I'm gonna move on. But back to the basketball. I mean, you know, you're right, Harold. I think it's just so it's so sad, and we see that just in corporate America settings and everything else, that women, and let's say women in general, for the sake of the conversation, that are under this under thumb impression about not getting where they are. Typically, while we're celebrating this month and, you know, women history, you know, at least bring to the forefront, you know, the powerful women that are out there.
Gotcha.
You know, and fortunately, we've had some very powerful women on the show that, you know, have spoken to the lives of individuals, you know, that have been on the show this week. And tonight, oh my gosh, woo! I mean, I'm like, you know, right now. I'm ready to jump through, you know. I want to hear what she got to say. I want to hear what Miss Data has to say about this tonight.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to say my point. But go ahead with your conversation, guys.
But you know what? Speaking on that, y'all know whose birthday it is today?
Aretha Franklin.
The boss.
I'm just like, chill
Aretha
now.
and the boss is there. I'm sorry.
But you know what?
That's right.
The boss, Miss Anna Ernestine Ross.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But you know what? That right there is really, I can say, is a motivation for any woman who's trying to get in any industry. The focus, the hard work, the dedication, the dignity, the integrity of a woman who has been in this business for a long, long time,
Yes.
and who has persevered. That is motivation right there. And she's 78 years old and still looking young.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, Parnell.
But they all in that, all of them in that category look so very young. I mean, from Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross,
Yes.
all of them. I mean,
Yes.
And who were you just with on the road, Parnell?
Thelma Houston.
Thelma Houston, you know,
Yeah.
as well. So I mean, whatever water they've been drinking, okay, they need to pass out to these young folk. Okay, because I'm gonna tell you, they look old as hell. But then again, it's a life you live, you know, at the end of the day. And not to say that theirs was perfect, but at least they got it together at some point to maintain and hold on to their youth, you know, at the product. And then Aretha Franklin's birthday was yesterday.
Well, let's talk about the diva Kanye West on top
Oh my
of that.
gosh.
You know,
Do we have to? I'm gonna say that every time. Do we have to?
this thing has been canceled from the Grammys and the Coachellas.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who wants to respond to this craziness?
Well,
I
I'll say
will.
my part. Go ahead. You want to go ahead, Parnell?
I will absolutely.
Okay.
Because here's a certain thing, you know, because there have been some folks coming to defend him, like, oh, they're just canceling because of so and so. Like, no, he canceled himself from his own behavior.
Yes,
What
sure.
he has been doing with Kim, whatever people feel about Kim Kardashian or the Kardashians in general, the fact that he has been harassing this woman
Right.
on
Exactly.
the internet for months is just like, no, dude, that there's a price to pay for that. And
Exactly.
to just allow you, because it's like people can't have it both ways. You can't say celebrities get special treatment, but then when they hold people accountable for their behavior, go like, oh, y'all just doing it because, like, no, this is what we're saying we wanted, that anybody else that was harassing their spouse or ex-spouse in this manner would be subject to criminal prosecution. So
Absolutely.
here it is.
Right. I agree. I mean, you know, I think the end road with Kanye. I mean, because if we keep feeding into his problems, it's not going to help him with the problem. I think that either somebody needs that trust or in his circle needs to pull this guy aside and say, hey, look, man, go get some serious help.
But
you
it's
know,
dangerous.
at the end of and because it's getting dangerous, it's really getting dangerous, and we don't want to see him, you know, as a man of color, really being thrown into a very bad situation. Even though all of his stuff is just crazy that's going on with him, but you know, it's tough when you have mental illness. And one thing about that is that we're doing a future show on that, people, about mental illness. Okay, so it's very tough to have to deal with that, and not only just him, but we got a lot of people out there with a lot of mental illness that we don't even necessarily talk about, but his is just always on the forefront because of who he is, you know, at the end of the day. And it's sad. You know, it's sad. I mean, it's a lot of PTSD that's going on out there. I mean, from number one, from religion, like we talked about a show a year ago. And, you know, and let's talk about that trauma. But anyway, we got 1 minute. Sorry about that, guys. I know I ran my mouth.
But you know what?
Make it quick, because we got to go to break.
Okay, DL Hughley, don't even fall for that trap.
Okay.
Just keep pushing.
All right.
I'm just saying, it ain't worth it. Okay,
I got you.
Yes.
Well, anyway,
we're sending love and light to Kanye West.
we're sending love and light to God,
Yes.
so he can exercise and get his mind to a healthier spot. That's what we do for him. Okay, support our brother in a way that he needs to support right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to go to break. Okay, but when we come back, oh my gosh, we're gonna have the wonderful and lovely Miss Deidre Cole. I am just so excited about this tonight. The warrior. Oh my gosh, this beautiful lady has been in this the industry. I'm gonna say industry of martial arts for almost 50 years. Can you believe it? Look at fabulous like that. Oh my God. Okay, wait to see her on camera and see how gorgeous she is.
And JB, you got to put respect on her name is Grand Master.
Grandmaster. There you go.
Grandmaster, yes, you know, absolutely. Especially for a woman of color to carry that title. Woo, that just gives me chills. All right, guys. All right, and we're back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. It's been a certain awesome thing to have you guys with us tonight. Want to speak and say hello to our social media base and thank you for all of your support and here and there, what have you. I don't know if they had an opportunity to bring it to you to the front, but if you're following us on Facebook on the Truth Behind Truth page, if that page has been compromised. And we do apologize. Well, I can't make an apology for that. It's not us, okay? So just keep us tuned as to all of our individual pages, and we'll keep you abreast as to how we develop that. on the Truth Behind the Truth page. But we apologize if you tried to connect to that tonight. There's a reason why that is, and that the page has been compromised. Somebody has what did they call it? Hacked the page. Same thing. Sad thing with social media. But anyway, want to let everybody know that as well. But anyway, without further ado, we're gonna dig in and hear a grand Miss Diva coming on the show tonight and just hearing what she has got to say. Miss Deidre Wyco, I'm so excited about it. Yes. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. When I heard about martial arts, it kind of brought me back to my younger years. Okay, because I started out as taking jujitsu. I mean, years ago, and I used to love to be able to do that. And I taught kickboxing. Usually I taught kickboxing and everything. So I mean, the martial art one, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to hear about this tonight. But we'll dig in with me in a minute. It's about you. So Harold, go ahead. I know you got first question tonight from Ms. Deirdre.
Well, I'm just so excited to have you on as the rest of the guys are. But you have this wonderful book, and in your book, Glimpse of the Warrior Within, you talk about your journey of discovering you are enough.
Yes.
What led you to write the book, and what was it about your life experience that led you to believe that you weren't enough at one point?
Great question. I'm going to try not to take all evening to answer it. So first of all, again, thank you all for having me. I'm honored to be here. I was sitting backstage enjoying everything that I was hearing. So I started martial arts when I was really young, like 8 or 9 years old. I started with 2 of my brothers. You probably all heard that story. We started going to the, my mom would drop us off at the theater on the weekends, and we would just get home and just try all this on each other, whatever. And then finally, one day my dad, he's like, hey, I got a friend of mine who's taking some real karate lessons. Do you want to go? And it was at the Northside YMCA, over in the neighborhood, where we grew up or whatever. And so I started doing, that's when my martial arts training first started. But there were some things, even though I started taking martial arts, I was like a middle child. I was kind of like, just kind of like always, felt like I had to, just really fight to find my place, in growing up, just never really fit in at that time. I didn't understand that, God had designed me to be out the box anyway, but I didn't understand that. I was kind of looking here and there and everywhere, trying to find my validation just to see, how I could fit in or how I could, whatever. And I just didn't, and I know my parents did the best that they could with the information and the knowledge that they had at the time or whatever. So I don't hold anybody, accountable or anything like that. But it wasn't being poured into me, that, hey, you can be anything you want to be,
right.
You want to do it, whatever. So I struggled, just trying to find, my validation, And so what the book is about basically is because with all the years of the martial arts training and all of the different challenges that I've faced in life, which were quite a few. I've always used martial arts as like my GPS or my gauge, to help me, over this hump or over that hump or whatever. So it's like one day I finally had an epiphany. Finally, after it took a while, it took a minute, but one day I finally, after going through so much, I'm like, hey, you know what? Everything that I'm looking for, I can't find it nowhere else. It's all on the inside of me. And it was there, upon conception, but I didn't know it. Right. But now that I know it, it's a game changer, baby. It's a game changer. But I didn't know that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to write this book, and I had always liked to journal. So I've always, expressed myself, through my writing, and, I held a lot of stuff inside of me, some things that had happened to me, as a child, some abuse that had taken place and things like that. So I always internalized a lot, but I would write. And so one day, true story, a few years ago, post-pandemic, actually, no, right. So maybe right before I was at a church service. It was kind of like a luncheon that, a friend of mine had invited me to, and I had gone there. And the gentleman who was bringing the word that day, he was, he was the prophet that they had brought in from another state. I'd never met him before. Came over to me, he was like, he said, I know you don't know me, I don't know you, but God told me to ask you why you have not finished writing that book yet. And he said, I know you thinking, people don't want to hear what I got to say. He said, but it's a lot of people waiting on their deliverance and their healing, and you holding them up. until you get this thing written and get it done, you know. So it's like, you know, this responsibility is on you to do it. So he said, I'm going to pray for you right now that God would give you the ability to go ahead and finish what you started, because it's a whole world out there waiting to hear your story, because they're going to be able to relate to it. They're going to be able to get healed from it, and so on and so forth. And then shortly after that, pandemic happened. You know, I got laid off from my job or whatever, and I was able to write and finish the book in the midst of it. And, you know, I said, and after I did, you know, follow those instructions, and as everybody that I've talked to so far that have, you know, read the book, they've said the same thing, you know, oh, you've given me, because I know we all have a warrior inside of us.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Definitely. But you know, Ms. Grandmaster Deidre, I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
Okay.
To enlighten our audience, you have started this. You have been on this journey for a long
time, baby.
And to be honest with you, finding your calling at the age of 9, just watching movies, watching kung fu movies downtown in your town, in your place, in your space with your. I think your father gave you that gift.
He did.
Watching those films, and then you taking the initiative to push you towards that purpose by finding your first teacher, Judge Charles. Was it Warren? Charles.
Yes.
Charles A. Warren, and then you just taking it further into just making it a, oh my God, not only a lifestyle but a ministry.
Absolutely.
And that right there, I want to say, my goodness, that right there that's something that people aspire to find their purpose.
Right.
What was that? Was that something that, I mean, it just.
Well, may I say this? It was my purpose, but I didn't have any idea it was my purpose.
Wow.
I enjoyed going to the dojo because I had some tomboy in me, and I like fighting, and I like, you know, and it was a way for me to, you know, let out my aggression. And I just loved going to the tournaments and meeting the people. I had no idea that I was on my journey of my purpose, but God already knew that, you know. And my father, who I'm sure didn't even know either, to be the catalyst to get me there. But I didn't know for a very long time that was my purpose. That was just something that I thought, it was just something that I enjoyed doing, but it was something that I just couldn't live without. It was like I would eat, sleep, drink, breathe, that kind of thing. And I just, you know, it was when I would go to the dojo, really, that was just like my home away from home. And it was like my safe haven. I just felt like that was just where I was supposed to be, but I still didn't know anything about purpose. Because mind you, I wasn't getting it, you know, it wasn't like we're talking about nowadays. It's easy for us to talk about purpose. Like I talk to my children about it, you know, right. But then it was something that, at least, you know, in the environment that I grew up in, that wasn't something that was discussed. Like, you know, follow your purpose. Right. It was, you know, work hard, you know, go to school, work hard, get a job, do this, do that, or whatever. So while I was following my purpose, I still was having to, you know, when I just, you know, I had my children eventually, whatever, I still had to, like, you know, feed these babies, and I still had to, you know, work and do, you know, I still didn't know I was on my purpose, but it was for whatever reason. I know now I never was able to let it go. I always had to get there and continue that training and continue that journey that started, you know, so almost like you said, almost 50 years ago.
Ooh, baby.
Go ahead, Pernell.
Oh, I just had to admire those who got into martial arts when they were younger. Because when I was growing up, and you know, and I love me, you know, a kick-ass babe. You know, like I'm a fan of women who can kick ass. Like, yes. And growing up, we had a childhood friend of mine, Michelle Breckenridge, and she was just our kick-ass babe when we were growing up. Was always competing in martial arts tournaments, and I had kind of wanted to, because like all of us who grew up in the 70s, you know, the kung fu movies were coming out. We were all watching. Everybody like, we were trying to be or Jim Kelly and all that stuff. But I was too shy to actually start training that young. And it wasn't until like later in high school, I started taking some classes. They had like after school programs. And there was this one guy who just kept picking on me. And I'm like, why is he messing with me? Because one, he's like a foot taller than me. And I don't know what I'm doing. And we're like sparring in class. And it was really not very structured. And he kicked me dead in the face.
Oh no!
With his shoe on, and I was kind of a little pain because I'm just like going, I'm gonna go check my face in this mirror. If I got a scar or anything, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna kick your ass. Because it was just like, I'm like not going, I look in the mirror and there's this dusty Converse print all up and down.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I was just like, but wasn't nothing scratched or torn. So I'm like, okay, all right, we good.
Wow.
But while I was gone, my friend Kenny Robertson handled that for me, you know, because he was a brown belt at the time. And when I came back, he's like, don't worry, man, I handled that for me because you're not gonna pick on my friends when I'm here. And I'm just like, oh, I appreciate it. And that made me really, as an adult, I got back into martial arts and I took Taekwondo. And I got scared at that point, but now as an adult, I'm just like, I realized that I had been kicked and punched everywhere.
Oh, okay.
And didn't quit. You know, I kept going on. I got my second dan.
Nice.
And, you know, and then I kind of fell out of training, and I really regret that. So I admire people like you who have been training for 47, 50, almost 50 years.
Almost, yeah. I started.
You know,
Wow.
and wait, I got to brag on you a little bit. I took my notes. I'm going to brag on you a little bit here.
Oh.
All right. An 8th degree senior student of the legendary Sijo Steve Sanders Muhammad, co-founder of the Black Karate Foundation. Yes, Black folks. And founder of Ken Wen Tai Bai.
Yeah, it's a combination of Kempo,
Yes.
Chun, Tai Chi, and boxing. Yeah.
Come on now. And in July 2019, you were inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, and recognized as an original BKF Ancient Alpha Warrior.
Yes, sir.
That same weekend, I'm bragging on our sister.
Right.
Also designated the position of official arbitrator for Steve Muhammad's first annual Fight Like a God karate tournament. And last year, inducted into the Ultimate Warrior Hall of Fame class of 2021 by martial arts legend Ron Van Cleef, aka the Black Dragon, and Sifu.
Wow.
And I'm just like, and with a lot of top-notch martial artists, including actor Michael Jai White, and I'm a big fan of Michael's. So when I was reading all this, I'm like, oh, sister is somebody.
And look, and just to go back a little further, let's not forget, speaking of kick-ass, she used to be a police officer. She was a detective, and she left. And while she was on the list to becoming a lieutenant, she made a transition.
Wow.
She left, you know. So speaking of kick-ass, she's just been kicking ass all over the place.
Right.
I love me a kick-ass babe. Because I'm saying that because you were killing it in that red dress in that picture. I'm like, yes.
Guys, you know what? I love this platform so much. And like you guys were talking about Judge Brown earlier. So it made me think back to my former days with, you know, law enforcement, and how much I really, really loved my position. I loved helping the community, and I loved, you know, helping because this is the hometown that I grew up in, right? So I knew it very well. And you know, and I love my people. So I always, you know, I call myself a servant leader, right? And because I love my position so much, but I had to contend with that white male dominant authority thing. And I mean, I was always, you know, it was always, you know, me and them butting heads, you know, because I'm not going to sit there and let you mistreat somebody or talk to somebody, me or somebody else even, and just like not say nothing like it's not, you know what I mean? Take these oaths, y'all not even like living up to them. So that was my biggest struggle within that department. It wasn't, I love the job. I love being out, you know, in the community and all that. It was just that very thing that she's dealing with right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to write another book, and in my book, I wrote one chapter about it. I didn't go real deep, but I touched enough on it, but I am going to go deeper because this is something that, you know, Black women, and this is a trip because I always, that Malcolm X quote that you use, Brother Harold, I always, whenever I get an opportunity to speak before people, that's one of the quotes that I always use because it's so true back then and even today, because it's like, how can a woman, a Black woman especially, be so disrespected and so unprotected and neglected and all those things that we are on a day-to-day basis. But then at the same time, every person on this earth comes from, when you go way back, the original Eve, who looked just like me. So how all life can come from me, all life comes from me, but you hate me. I don't understand that. That's like a moron to me. And that's like, so I'm going to, every time I get an opportunity to speak about it, I will. It's like, because I love being a Black woman. I'm so glad God made me that. And I always speak up for us because not enough people do. And so, I can't even take watching what the sister is going through, because it brings back so many memories or whatever, because we have to always be overqualified. We have to always prove ourselves and then we still get treated like, like that. And it's like, really? You know what I mean? We can do your job, in our sleep, you know what I'm saying? And to see that going on still in 2022, it's just really, it's really a shame. It's to see it play out.
Right. And, and it really is. I know we can probably speak to that in our next segment a little bit further, because I want to ask you in that about what are your feelings, or how do you speak to women that call themselves the B word in such an enduring moment, but how do you speak to that and against that? But as we go to break, I do want to ask you about how were you able to integrate Christianity into the idea of martial arts? Okay, because Christianity has been very supportive of anything that has to do with the arts, especially from my perspective, for a long time. We can talk about that when we come from the break, but I want to hear your opinion on that when we come back from the break. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll let you think about it. We'll come right back. Okay. All right, and we're back. Thank you guys for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth. Tonight we have this wonderful Grandmaster. Well, Ms. Deidre Elko, I am so excited. Thank you again for taking the time out to be with us tonight. It's all so far. It's been a thrilling show. I can't wait to get in a little bit further. So, as we left for break, I'd asked you that how you found a way that Christianity integrated in terms of you being a martial arts specialist, and now I want to hear your part, then I'll share my thoughts about that real quick.
Okay, great question. Okay, so for me, my take is a little bit different. Okay, so I grew up, so I come from a family of a lot of preachers in my family. My grandfather, my great grandfather, and my uncles, and so a lot of Holiness Church of God in Christ.
Oh wow! Okay.
Preachers, right? And so, and I know that because my grandfather even started the first African American church in the state of in Madison, Wisconsin, when before I was even born or whatever. So it was just my grandmother was church mother and all that. So that was, something that was I would say probably in the DNA, in the bloodline, that kind of thing. So my faith has always been, something that has been really, really important to me. But as I got older and got a chance to, experience things, for myself and life and all that, what I started to focus more on outside from any particular religion, because personally, I believe that a lot of times people allow religion to separate. I started focusing more on my relationship with my God, with God, And it's been my relationship that I take very, very seriously, that I cultivate, and I, you know what I mean? And I do what I have to do. And that's, you know, and it's something that I have to do daily. And that's, you know, I honor him, I reverence him wherever I go. And that's just who I am. But I have a lot of friends. I have friends that are Christian. I have friends that are Muslim. I have friends. And I like to call myself a believer. And I believe,
exactly.
You know, I believe in one God. But I believe that, you know, God is God. And I believe that if you are a believer, I don't care who you say whatever you claim your religion to be, if you are a believer, then you're going to treat me, you know, the way that I treat you. And we're going to, you know, respect each other. We can work together cohesively and come together without those kind of titles and things like that. I can't get caught up in that because that put me back. Yeah. So I'm on this path where it's like, you know, I'm a believer. If you're a believer, come on, let's get some stuff done. I don't care. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care. But, you know, but your actions are going to show me. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get caught up in that, but I do cultivate my relationship. And I think that it's important to have a one-on-one relationship. And you better have it nowadays because these are some perilous times we're living in. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my take on it.
Well, no, I mean, I really appreciate you saying that from that perspective because, you know, it when you have grown up in, and now I refer to my life as spirituality because if I would sit here, as I always say on the show, and tell everybody about my litany in church, okay, we'd be here for the next year, okay, you know, really, realistically, you know, but through those efforts and understanding of that, I have grown to understand the spiritual side of everything. And we are all, as you spoke of, maybe in that same format, but everything is spiritual, you know, and if you recognize that everything is being spiritual, then you have an opportunity to embrace and accept everything that's available to you. And you don't exclude from, and what you so beautifully said about, you know, your relationships that you have with everybody, and yet keeping your center focus, your spiritually centered focus on what God represents to you, and that's a beautiful thing. And I really applaud that, especially in the arena that you're so, you know, divinely working in, you know, and being great at, you know, at that point. But I'm gonna shut up because I keep running. Go ahead, Don. I know Don has the next question for you.
You know what we're talking on, and let me tell you something. When it boils down to religion, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm like you, Grandmaster. If you treat me with respect and with some form of consideration, I think that is more than just being a Christian or being a Muslim or being a Hindu, a Buddhist. I think at the end of the day, that's just being humanist.
Absolutely.
And I feel like religion shouldn't take away from you just being a human at the end of the day.
No, right.
But I also want to ask you this question, Grandmaster. Is it hard in your field to be, I mean, because you have two components you have to deal with. You have to be Black and you are a woman. Mm-hmm. And those two out of those two components, which one is the hardest to have to deal with?
Wow. Woo! Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something because you know, like I said, I think back again, and you know, back to law enforcement. I can remember when I first got promoted to. Well, they didn't just give me the promotion. I tested and got promoted to detective, and I remember going into the detective bureau, and I was in a room filled with Caucasian men. Maybe another woman, but she was, you know, she didn't look like me. I was the only one in there that looked like me, and that was my same gender, right? And when I tell you, I got very little. I mean, I really didn't get a warm welcome. It was kind of like, you know, you're gonna have to fend for yourself and that kind of, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you really have to fight for the respect. You have to. That's why I say all my life I've been fighting for something. Fighting, and I say that even in the intro part of my book, you know, all my life I've been fighting. I've been fighting for, you know, fighting in the martial arts, fighting to find my place, fighting as a woman, fighting as a, you know, as a African American, just fighting, you know. And it's like, it just, you know, sometimes you just get tired. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, when is this ever going to stop? So what I have come to discover is never going to end. So go ahead and embrace the warrior within. And so I have this acronym now for, you know, when I teach other women and when I go and I do my workshops and my, you know, my classes, about being a warrior and being a woman. Because when you think about it, every warrior, whether it's Shaka Zulu or any warrior that you think about, guess what? They came through a woman, right? So that means that woman had to be a warrior first, right?
Wow.
Like that. So when I think about it and I break down the acronym, it's like, so the W, I say for me, is the W in warrior is woman. I say the A is alignment, because whatever I do now, it's got to be in alignment with where God is calling me. Otherwise, I don't want no part of it, right?
Okay.
The first R in that warrior for me is respect, because I'm going to demand it wherever I go. I'm going to give it, but I'm going to also demand it back, And then the second R is resilient, because being a Black woman, you got to be resilient, man. Otherwise, it's going to be real. And I've learned that I'm more resilient than I ever knew that I was. Okay. And that I, for me, is integrity, right?
Wow.
Okay. And then the O is out the box, because everything about me and my life is out the box. Did Jesus ever do anything that was inside of a box, y'all?
He never did.
No,
he never did.
Did he ever do anything that was inside of a box?
Never did.
Okay.
Never did.
Right. And that last R is restoration and restore. So I want to restore women, and I want to, bring them back to their original place, and let them know that, hey, you do have a warrior inside of you, and let me help, bring it out. Because it's
perfect.
Wow.
We got to get another break in here just a second. But when we go to break, when we come back, I really want us to hear about how you're training women nowadays in the type of class that you're doing. In that, is it the physical, the defensive class? I understand that you're doing as well. So if you can share a little bit about that when we come back from the break, okay?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. We'll see you in a minute. We'll be right back from the break.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and thank you for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. As I said, we have this lovely Grandmaster, DJ White Cole. Thank you so much again. But real quick before we have to wrap up today, so I want to hear about what you're doing in the training, and I understand that you are teaching women self-defense. So share with that real quick for me.
Okay. So it's twofold what I'm doing right now. So I have DYC Martial Arts, and those are my initials, Deidre Yvette Cole. And what I do, I've taken, all my years of training, and I basically have kind of it's my interpretation of what I feel women could learn, and they can learn quickly, because now it's about survival, right? Mm-hmm. So I teach women. I teach online. I do online classes. I do workshops. I do all of that. I teach, girls and women. I teach, if the guy wants to learn, I teach him too, because I've been teaching for a long time. But I'm just about to teach. I think that every young girl and every woman should at least know some basic self-defense to get away, from to stop a threat and to get away. At least that much. And so I teach them how to use whatever is around and make it a weapon. It's just whatever. And because anything can be that, and you yourself become the weapon. And it's all here though. So what I do now, I come from a spirit, mind, body approach. So when I do my workshops, and I have a partner with the workshop, it's called we have a workshop called Boldly Be You Women's Empowerment that we're doing. Nice. And with me and a sister friend of mine, she's also a grandmaster in the martial arts. and we come together and we do these workshops where we tackle not just the martial arts part. We do that. We do our martial arts training, but we want the woman to be whole because we know that it takes a whole woman to, be able to thrive and be balanced. So what we do is we do the meditation, we do the breathing, and we bring other experts in. Talk about the mental health, like what I mentioned earlier, because that's a real thing too.
Yes.
And we bring therapists in to talk about trauma healing and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make it to where it's not just martial arts, it's martial arts for sure, but it's more of a self-defense and a survival type training. And then from there, we go into, we start off with the prayer, but then we go into the guided meditation, then we go into the martial training. And after the martial training, we do like a sister circle, a round table type meeting. And then we have the therapist there, and we talk about our healing, our traumas, and our healing, and that kind of thing. And we have that sister time where we're sharing and all that, because I think that that's more important now. That the day that we're living in now is to make sure that the woman is whole. So that's where I'm coming from right now.
You better go ahead and train the next version of the Dora Milaje.
I know, right? Exactly. So I think that really answered your head. I think that really answered my question earlier when I said that we don't have to elaborate on it at this point, but where I was saying, how do you speak to women by not calling them that B word, And I think you just answered it basically as you were, as your description of everything, because when you have the women circle out and define who they are and affirm who they are, you don't need to be calling yourself out of context.
Oh no!
At the end of the day,
nobody needs to be using that word
Absolutely.
anyway. I mean, I don't think anybody should be using that.
I find that to be very offensive, because like I said, how the woman being the most disrespected, neglected, and unprotected. But we sometimes we out here disrespecting ourselves too. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. So I want to always like to women and speak empowerment to them. And I don't, like I said, I don't tolerate that. I don't use that word in my vocabulary. I think that I don't understand it. I don't know when that ever even became a popular thing. I don't know. But another big part of martial arts is character. At least it should be.
Yeah.
Somebody can go out and chop somebody, kick and all that. But it's like, what rank are you in your character? You know what I mean?
Right.
Teach about because I think that character and martial arts, having good character, should go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Deidre, in chapter 5 of your book, you write about the importance of loving yourself. What would you say to women who are struggling to do that? Because I know so many people, because of all of the things that they face, that's a challenge for them. What would you say to them as some things that they can do to begin to give them the love that they oftentimes have been looking for others to give?
Yes, that's a great question. Hey, Mary J said you get up and say, "Good morning, gorgeous."
Come on now.
For real though, seriously, I would suggest that first of all, they would get that relationship with the Creator, because you want to start seeing yourself the way that God sees you. And I say that God sees me as beautiful. Forget what y'all talking about over there. And I want to start seeing myself the way my daddy see me. And so I want to start affirming that. I want to start saying that and speaking that, because there's so much power in this little tongue, to yourself and not waiting for somebody else to come and validate you, because people are only going to treat you the way that you're treating yourself, right? So I can't expect you to treat me with love if I'm treating myself like I don't love myself. So you have to start with yourself. Treat yourself the way you want, show up for yourself the way you want other people to see you, and start affirming those things. Say those. I get with me and Les Brown get together, me and TD Jakes. Hey. You got to do the work, though. You got to do the work. You have to.
Real quick,
it don't just happen overnight. You have to do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know how everyone can get in touch with you, okay? And far as they can reach your book and everything else, and if they're in the area, how they can reach out, maybe even take your classes real quick.
Okay, and I want to give away some books too, y'all. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
All right.
So what people can do, they can go to my IG handle, which is DYC Martial Arts. That's DYC Martial Arts, and I say it's at least the first 7 people that inbox me and with the word warrior, I'm gonna send a book. So
awesome.
DM me your information, your address, or whatever, and I want to gift you a book. And how you can find me is now I do have a YouTube channel because I do as a result of the book, I started a podcast too, and it's called Glimpses of the Warrior Within Martial Arts Podcast, where I bring other martial arts warriors, not just martial arts, but other warriors on to talk about their journey, all in hopes to help inspire whoever's watching, whatever. Again, we all have a warrior in us. So you can find me on the YouTube channel, Deirdre Y. Cole. And then dycmartialarts@gmail.com is my email address. You can reach me that way. And
what we will do for you is that I'll make sure that Carolyn gets us the information, and then we will post that and run a ticker tape for you on our next show, so that those who didn't catch it this time will be able to make that a little bit more prevalent in front of them, so they'll have the information.
Okay, sure.
All right. Well, great. And, it's been awesome. You know what? I didn't get a chance to think all I want to talk about my but next time, hey, you are more than welcome to come back to this show. I mean, because we want to hear more. I mean, it was very insightful, and how you integrated everything and making this powerful life for yourself and powerful life for women. I applaud you so much. Thank you
so much for all you're doing, and thank you for being a woman of impact. We honor you.
And what a great way for us to end this particular time frame. I'll talk about women in power this month. Women History Month, Women in Power. You ended with the power, girl.
That's right.
Work, okay. I really appreciate you all.
Appreciate you.
And please come back at any time.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Guys,
thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. Next month, we are starting out with something awesome. We get into the love factor next one, guys. All right. So get y'all love, or get your little wine ready. Get everything ready so you get the love factor going on. It's going to be good. Yeah. We got relationships coming out in April, guys. So get ready. Oh, I'm sounding like TD Jakes. I don't sound like him. But anyway, get ready for the love factor coming at you next month on The Truth Behind the Truth. It's going to be exciting. You guys have a powerful night, fellas. We love y'all. Thank you for being here tonight. All right. Have a powerful night and a great night, guys. From The Truth Behind the Truth. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Early.
I was like, 45 more seconds.
Know, right?
You're 1 minute early. And you know why you're 1 minute early? Because this stuff missing out the show that wasn't here, that was here last week. I can't put up the show. I was like, the banners, all that stuff's missing. I'm like, what the hell? And then this is the other part. I think my computer's not made for doing this because it kept stalling on me. Y'all like this. And I'm clicking, going, what the hell's going on, man? But and the other part was there was a feedback coming from Deidre's mic. She was doing something else in her house. It was feeding back a lot. So I kept thinking, is that me? And it wasn't me. And I was like, So I'm looking at that. So I kept Harold on because I kept saying, "What the hell's that feedback coming from?" I was like,
like Harold was
I couldn't tell you. And then went, "Oh shit!" I'm like, man, I tell you,
that's all right.
It's crazy. I need a control board because this shit with this click, click, click. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Click, 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 click. Like, shit. It's just on me, so it ain't on y'all. It's on me.
Now we got to do some grant proposals.
We need to get some new equipment.
Oh man, but hey, it was a good show. It was a great show, and I think it went very well. Great questions, great lead-ins. Way to carry on the storyline with her. I think everything went very smooth. Outside of me, y'all was great.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about it. It's feeling like a really tight show that's going well. That, you know, we got our references to the work that Carolyn does with looking back on those notes and reading all this stuff. And it's great because, you know, there are things that you want to say, like, oh well, we just didn't have time to say it, but that's all right. The important thing is,
and JB, when I said no to delaying the show, it was only because there's already people clicking on. I'm like, they don't want to be sitting there going, what happened to the show?
Oh, no, that's fine.
So I was like, we just bring you on in.
We already said we ain't delaying the show no more.
Right.
Thank you, partner. I appreciate that.
I'm like, so don't even fix your mouth to ask that question no more. The show starts at 6 o'clock.
We're still live. We're still live, y'all. We're still live.